It seems like every other day we get another major company trying to take a political stance when they have absolutely no right to do so, no incentive to do so. You're alienating a part of your customer base when you're doing that. And we've seen Gillette do this in one of their commercials that they published to YouTube, and also I believe to a few TV stations recently about toxic masculinity, which was just so, to be honest with you. They were selling male razors, men razors, and it's just so ridiculous that they try to alienate the one market that is actually buying their products. But today, I get it, I'm a little late to the party. We're going to be talking about how Netflix wants to abolish the phrase chick flicks. Now, I don't know about you guys, I have a few female friends and they use the term chick flicks. This isn't just accepted by, the masculine dominant, toxic alpha males that just want to, make a joke about rom-coms. I've seen females talk about this whole thing too. They've made the phrase part of their vocabulary. And yes, there's only two genders, guys, male and female. I don't know if you have a problem with that. If you do, you should probably unsubscribe. But today, we're going to be talking about how they took it to Twitter of how this term should be retired. Now, before we even jump into the video, guys, don't forget to drop a like. It helps me out, helps the whole channel out as well. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and that bell next to the subscribe button next to my name. So let's talk about it. To avoid any confusion, this is from the Twitter account at Netflix Film. There's another Twitter account that is specifically designated for the United States, and that's called Netflix US, but this is the overarching Twitter account, right? So they go, quick public service announcement, can we stop calling films chick flicks unless the films are literally about small baby chickens? Here's why this phrase should be absolutely retired. Thread. So clearly, right out the get-go, they're just taking an extreme stance on a phrase that is not only used by men, but also women. I don't know why they're even trying to do this. This is such a minor issue in today's society, and just one phrase, one term that doesn't even portray any type of racism or hate is just so ridiculous. And a major company like this is clearly showing a political stance when they're talking about chick flicks. This is probably some millennial feminazi 20-year-old that lives with 35 cats, or maybe even lives with her parents still, and is just so angry at the whole term of capitalism, which is probably where she is in the United States or another country that actually, has a capitalist society. And quite frankly, I don't know why she's trying, or he's trying, yeah, it's a guy, but I don't know why this person is trying to actually make an issue about something that is just so minor, and nobody really has an issue with this phrase. Like I said before, I've had female friends that have even used this phrase and have it in their own vocabulary, but it doesn't stop there. They go, for starters, chick flicks are traditionally synonymous with romantic comedies. This suggests that women are the only people interested in, one, romance. Now, two, comedy, which I can promise from the men I've come across in my life, simply isn't true. Now, look it. I'm not going to try to be sexist here. I've watched The Notebook, all right? I've watched The Notebook with my girlfriend. I'm a dude. I watched The Notebook because I was watching it with my girlfriend. But if I had to choose any type of movie without my girlfriend in the vicinity, you damn well know it won't be a rom-com. It's going to be guns a-blazing. It's going to be some type of action movie. It doesn't even have to be the toxic masculine action-packed guns, bloody, whatever you want to call it, film. It can be an interesting film that maybe has a mystery in it, blah, 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 blah. It's not about romance. I'm not a fan of that. I don't know any guys that are a fan of romance in movies unless it comes to like something minor in a plot where in reality, the large part of the plot is actually action-packed. So clearly, I don't know who this person is. I don't know. I'm assuming this is a woman because she's saying, all the men that I've known in my life. Like, shut up. Like, but it doesn't stop there. It keeps going, man. This is like a huge thread, and I don't even have the patience to read through this whole thing. But they go, there aren't sweeping categories specific to men. You don't hear people asking to watch man movies. Instead, pretty much every intersection of genre is on the table and seen as for men, except, of course, the aforementioned rom-coms. Now look it, right? romantic comedies, right? Romantic comedies are not a part of what I would call male culture. I mean, you could talk about it time and time again, but unless I'm watching this on a date or with a girlfriend or with some type of female friend that I'm maybe, somewhat interested in, I have no incentive to watch The Notebook or, another romantic comedy. I can't even think of another one, right? But clearly, there are films out there that are rom-coms that I would technically enjoy, but I wouldn't, watch that in my free time. For example, 50 First Dates with Adam Sandler. That was a pretty good movie, and I've watched that both times. I've only watched it twice in my life with another female. So there's really no issue with watching it if you're a guy. You don't really strip his masculinity away, because most of the time he's watching it for the incentive of watching it with another girl, right? There's clearly no reason as to why I would be watching that personally. Like 50 First Dates, I wouldn't watch that personally by myself. I have other better things to do than watch a rom-com in my free time. I don't know about you guys. If you take offense to that and you're a dude, you should probably just bulk up on some testosterone and start lifting weights, but we're not done yet. It really goes on and on and on. And you could make counter arguments and then even support this whole thing, but if you really do support the abolishment of this term, I really don't understand, your mindset. I mean, you really can't abolish a phrase that has been used for decades now just because one major company is making it a problem. And then they go, and nicknaming films chick flicks drives home that there's something trivial about watching them. But what's trivial about watching a film that makes you feel 1,000 emotions in 90 minutes? Look it. I've never cried during a movie, right? I mean, I think I may cry during Avengers Endgame, but I have never cried during a movie. And it's definitely not going to be a rom-com. I don't feel any emotion about the romance part in these movies because there's something that is just not organic about them. It seems like I see the actor and I'm like, oh yeah, that person, they're $1 million worth. Why am I watching this person fake cry because the man cheated on her or something like that, right? Just an example, just a general example. I don't understand why I would feel a ton of emotion in the romance part. Hell, but I've laughed during romantic comedies. There's been some funny parts in these films, obviously, because it is partially comedy. I've laughed when Adam Sandler, stayed in the middle of the street for 50 First Dates in the rain and then, saw the girlfriend's dad and brother show up. I mean, there's just a bunch of examples that have funny scenarios, but there's clearly not 1,000 emotions in that film, at least for myself. Now, the last thing, I actually made it till the very end. They go, overall, there's nothing inherently gendered about liking a lighthearted film with a strong female lead and emotional arc. Now, before we even talk about the second part of this, and it's really trivial, but the fact that they're making this assumption that you can't like a chick flick or a rom-com, that's not a problem. Like I said before, would not watch these type of films in my free time, but I mean, I did technically like 50 First Dates with Adam Sandler. That was a pretty decent movie. I've liked or enjoyed the plot in some of these chick flick movies, but The Notebook, quite frankly, was pretty cheesy. I don't know if you guys watched it, but like I said before, I wouldn't watch these movies in my free time, but I did somewhat enjoy the plot. No one was saying that I would just absolutely hate 50 First Dates because it was a chick flick, right? That's just, this is the problem with society. Everyone makes this outrageous conclusion, and then everybody is just up in arms about this conclusion, whether they support it or they don't support it. And it creates this awful toxic narrative that the United States, and not just the United States, but other countries have been suffering with in the news and mainstream media. Unless some crazy war is happening, unless some, major things such as the Notre Dame fire is happening, the news shouldn't be covering these type of things. But unfortunately, Netflix has to make some money another way, and they have to just hit the headlines on the news. So they decide to go at something so minor in today's world that is the phrase chick flicks. It makes no sense to me. I don't know why this person, it's probably a 20-year-old millennial, like I said, that is single, living with her parents with 35 cats, but she, or he, I doubt it's a guy, like I said, but she's basically making this ridiculous conclusion just to stir up the pot. And I really don't understand why people do these type of things, but this is what we have today in 2019 in the 21st century. If you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to drop a like. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and that bell next to the subscribe button next to my name. I'm Cryptix, not trying to abolish the word chick flicks, and I'm signing off.